Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm feeling much more alive again. I hope you can hear me above all the water. And my secret to feeling alive again, and my vibrancy coming back, is listening to my intuition of resting, but also just hopping the dang fence that's been driving me crazy and going off trail and exploring and just trusting my wild nature to guide me to where my soul needs. And she didn't disappoint. Up those waterfalls, I just follow the rocks up there. There's this magical, mystical pool that I will take a video of when I get there. But I think I'm going to travel downriver today. I've traveled downriver before, but it's really shallow. It's not deep swimming holes, and it's a cooler day today, but my hike here got me pretty toasty, so definitely needing a swim. And then just gonna lounge on the rocks and chill. But basically, yeah, the land and the wild woman, I've been reading the book Woman Who Runs with the Wolves, and there's this wild nature, our true nature, before we were tamed, which is the conditioning of society that's been passed down for generations. But this wild beast, this wild woman in me is slowly being unleashed more and more and more. And when I go against the conditioning of you can't cross that fence, you can't do that, you can't do this, it's not all of the stories, and I listen to the wild woman, listen to the animalistic instinct in me that we all have, that it almost feels mischievous, when you're a child and when you're kids, you just did what you wanted to do that was fun, and most of the time our parents didn't even know what we were doing. We were doing all kinds of crazy shit, jumping from tree to tree. If they saw what we were doing, they would freak out and stop us. And we knew that, so we went into the woods to do it. We just scattered off into the woods, and we were there all day, every day, me and my siblings, and we were just being wild and weird and climbing trees and climbing rocks and playing tag in the treetops and swinging from branch to branch and jumping, doing all kinds of stuff that could have killed us. But we didn't even think about fear because we were just so in the moment and present, and we weren't programmed or conditioned yet. And the wild nature in us gets conditioned out of us, and we lose our connection to that part of ourselves, which is our true nature. We lose our soul, and our light dims, and we feel lifeless. And I look at pictures I've been looking at some pictures from 5 years ago as they pop up on my Facebook memories, and I was making $150,000 a year, which can be a lot to some and can be not much to others, but for a 23-year-old at that time, driving a brand new BMW and making that much money, that was a lot for me. That was a lot for most people in my reality. And I look back at the pictures of that version of me that doesn't even feel like me, that just feels like a ghost, a shell of a person going through these motions, lifeless, feeling numb, feeling nothing, feeling uninspired, and just going through the motions and living what the world told me success and happiness meant, while feeling none of those things, not feeling successful, not feeling inspired, not feeling happy, and then thinking that there was something wrong with me, but not expressing that because people didn't talk about that. People just went through the motions and were like, look what I make, look what I drive, look what, it was all about accomplishments. And since giving up everything and rebuilding from the ground up after my reality, the illusion I was living since shattered, and allowing this wildish nature, I got it cut off because my phone is full, my storage. But yeah, to let the truth of my being to come alive again, which is following that wildish nature, which I couldn't even hear before. But through all of the deaths and rebirths I've been through, and the shedding of the identities, of the illusions, of all of the parts of all of the things that I took on, all of the masks that I identified with and thought were me, after those shattered, I could start to hear this light, the quietest little voices and nudges that I followed, and the stronger it got, and it gets stronger and stronger by the day, the more I feed it, the more I listen to it. And one of the fairy tales that kind of reflect our own psyche in the book of Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is such a powerful book, speaks about this part of our psyche, which in the fairy tale is this little doll that this girl gets from her mother before it passes away, and her mother gave her one instruction: to keep feeding the doll, and the doll will guide her. And it guided her through pretty much escaping death, and saved her in the end. There's a lot more to the story, but basically it represents that part of our psyche, our intuition, to always feed it, and it will continue to guide us and instruct us. And that's what the doll does for this little girl. Even though her mother has passed away and now she's on her own journey, her mother gave her the tools, the intuition, and the daughter, it's now up to the daughter to strengthen that intuition and to listen to the doll and to keep feeding the doll so the doll doesn't die. And that is the part of our psyche, the wild woman, the instinctual wild nature in us. And that's been increasingly coming back alive within me as I shed these layers of the confinements and the boxes and the identities, and I allow myself to be wild and free the way that I was when I was a child, returning to that pure innocence, the purity, and the wild child that knew that they were always safe, that knew that, they just knew everything. They were connected to their divinity, to truth. They didn't have all of these identities yet. They didn't have an ego formed yet. They didn't have these judgments formed. They saw through the eyes of God before their vision got distorted by the world, by their parents, by the conditioning. And this is what I'm experiencing. The further along I go in my journey, the more I return to that childlike wonder and innocence and purity and inner knowing of who I am and why I'm here and our true nature. And I've mentioned this in my videos before, but the Bible says, I'm not a Christian, but the Bible has so much in it, in truth. I don't pick one religion or one teaching. I see the truth in all of it, and I pull from all of these different traditions and religions the truth, because there's distortions in all of them, and there's truth in all of them. We just have to use our own discernment and to really learn how to listen. Anyways, and there's a passage in the Bible that says, you must become like children again to enter the kingdom of God. Heaven is all around us, accessible to everyone. There's not the chosen ones. It is accessible to everyone. And it is through becoming like a child again that we begin to see that heaven is available to us, that it's right here all around us. But it requires us to return to that state of being, to our purity. It requires us to purify ourselves. I got cut off again. I really need to empty out my phone. I just keep deleting stuff and then re-recording, hoping that it's enough. Anyways, oh, it's starting to rain. Gotta find some shelter. Anyways, basically, yeah, it's about doing this inner work of alchemizing and letting everything that was never the truth of who we were to be transmuted and transcended, and to embody that pure human nature. It's not about bypassing our humanness, it's returning to our humanness. But what it means to be human is nothing that we've been told. What it means to be a sovereign human on this earth is to be fully in our power and our sovereignty and connected to the land and connected to the inner, having the illusion of separation fully dissolved. So we experience our truth, which our truth is oneness, that we are one with all, to be able to recommune with the land the way that our ancestors really far back did, where they knew they were part of everything and they honored everything as themselves, as the Divine Mother, as the Divine Father, as the Goddess, honored their bodies, loved their bodies as the Goddess, loved the earth as the Goddess, loved everyone through their own beings. Because if we are not loving ourselves, we are not loving the world. Our relationship with ourselves is reflected in all of the relationships that we attract into our lives. Our relationship with ourselves is a direct reflection of our relationship with the earth. You know, what we're seeing in society with the earth still being mined and raped and segregated and owned is a reflection of our own psyche, of our own relationship with ourselves. And we also see that in humanity, the way that people are abusing their bodies and pouring chemicals into their own sacred waters, into their own vessels. We're also doing that to the earth. It's a direct reflection, and we can't fix the outer without fixing the inner. We can't heal the outer without healing the inner. It all starts with the inner. You know, that's why I don't care about politics. I don't care about all of these. Got cut off again. I'm wrapping it up. That is some people's mission, but I know it's not mine. My energy is just like, nah, you don't need to pay attention to that. Pay attention to what's inside, because nothing outside it's not outside to fix the inside. It's inside to shift the outside. And where your energy is best utilized is going inside. Use the outside as a mirror to show you what needs to still transform inside of you. And that's what I'm doing. You know, that's what my path calls from me. And I'm just listening. You know, there's no book and no religion or no person outside of me that can show me the way. The way doesn't exist yet. We create the way, and the only way is from listening and going within. And that inner, instinctual, intuitive self, which is our connection, our truth, our connection to the divine, is what supports us in our path unfolding and us following our truth to liberation, to freedom, to humanity returning to who we have always been meant to be. And yes, we have stories to dissolve in all of this karmic stuff that we are carrying. As we chose to carry this, we chose to come to this earth to carry certain weights on our back. It's like, you know, carrying a backpack of weights. We all came with our shit, our stories to dissolve. We came here to alchemize it as a soul on a mission, being like, hey, this is the shit that we came in here to transmute, to transcend. The stories that we came in here to take on, we chose to take them on so that we could purify them and wash them in the waters, so that we can alleviate purifying until the waters run clear. It's like dirty, muddy water, and you keep pouring clean water in the glass, and eventually it purifies. And that is the work that we are doing. And there's some days where it seems like we're moving in the wrong direction, that it's getting worse, but that is an illusion. I can feel and see clearly that we're moving in the right direction. It can only get better. And it sometimes seems, you know, like if there's a cup with muddy water in it and all the dirt settles to the bottom and you pour clean water in it, it's going to bring up all of that. It's going to unsettle all of the muck from the bottom that was always there, but maybe we didn't know it was there because it was settled to the bottom. But as we pour the fresh water in, it comes up to the surface and bubbles out. So it can seem sometimes when we look at the world that things are getting worse, but they certainly are not. And I know this without a doubt in my body, without a doubt in my being. I know we are moving in the right direction because I can feel it within myself, and I am a reflection of the macro, the micro to the macro, you know, so within, so without, and we're all connected. We are moving in the right direction, and every step we take ripples out. Every act of self-love that we take, that's an act of love to humanity. That's an act of love to the earth. Every bit of ourselves that we love, we transmute, we hold, like everything that we do within ourselves ripples out. So like, what more could you do? What could be a more powerful purpose or service to the other or to the earth than to love ourselves, to take care of our own bodies? This is why I am such a big believer in loving ourselves. It's not about ego, it's not about narcissism, it's about loving our vessels as the divine. Treat your body as God is. Love yourself as the Divine Mother. If you were Jesus or Mary Magdalene or Mother Mary, whoever that you hold, you look up to as like your whatever guru, your teacher, the one that if you have that to be your guiding light, if your body was them, how would you treat them? How would you speak to them? And then why are you not treating yourself, your vessel, as that now? Because you are that. You are the embodiment of Christ. You are the Christed one. That's what Christ and Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary taught us. But that's the path of Christ. That was his whole journey, was to teach humanity that that's us. We are Christ. Christ lives within us. We are God, Goddess. God lives within us. We are all of that. We're expressions of the divine. And to own that, to live that, to become free through that. Through Christ, we are free. And anyways, that's what that means to me. We can all, we're all on our own journeys, and I'm not here to tell people what to believe. I'm here to share my own heart, my own passion for life, and my own journey in all the ups and the downs, in all the wacky wilds, because I'm not perfect and nobody is. We're all on our own journeys of liberation, of finding ourselves, of reclaiming ourselves, because we've never really lost it. It's all been within, but it's through listening to these nudges and listening to our intuition, the Divine Mother, the communication, the guidance we're always receiving, that's always available to us, because we're never truly alone. I can feel the bees working. The bees have been so strong in my reality lately. And I've been like, I know that they're working with my energy, but I don't know how. Like, I'm just like, okay, bees are following me everywhere. Like, they're trying to get in my tent, like wasps. Like, they're very loud in my reality. And I, knew that they were working with me, but didn't know how. And then in my sleep, in my dreams, there was all these bees around me. And I still don't know what it means, but I know that the bees are working with me. And same as the hummingbird. I know the hummingbird has such powerful medicine. And she's been working with me, and she keeps coming to me. And even at night, I was playing guitar by the fire one night, and the hummingbird, my eyes were closed, and the hummingbird came right above my head, and then shoot, gone again. And I was like, whoa. And another day I was meditating by the river, and my eyes were closed, and the hummingbird right by my head and left again. So we're always being supported. All the messages are all around us at all times, and we just have to listen. And listening requires us to take the space and time to be able to do that. It's our responsibility to take grab of our own lives. We have the power to do that. We have the power to step out of our crazy everyday lives, to change our lives, to make changes so that we can hear ourselves, to give up what's no longer serving us. That may be the job, that may be the relationship that we already know is destroying us, that is sucking our soul, that is taking life from us, and that we're just not happy, and that we know it's not for us, and it's our responsibility to make the changes required. And that's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying, and it's not easy. I've been doing it for 5+ years now, breaking my own heart, leaving the relationship that I felt like I was going to die after leaving, but knowing that I needed to, and not knowing if I would survive it, and leaving the cushy job that gave me everything financially that I wanted, but I was miserable, and it was starting to feel like it was killing me. Like, I felt like I was going to die if I stayed there, and I quit without knowing what was next. And then, I sold everything I owned, and I got on a plane to Italy with no plan, with less, I think I had $2,000 to my name doing it. I had no idea how I was going to get back or what I was going to do. And it was just always listening and taking this next step, always listening and taking the next step. and feeling scared through all of it. And, you know, I'm getting better at listening and getting better at trusting and surrendering more into knowing that I'm held, because I keep getting the proof that I'm held. Even in the moments where it feels like, oh shit, I fucked up big time this time. I have no idea how I'm gonna get through this. Somehow something always works out and I always get through it. And the 5+ years, but especially in the last 3 and a bit years where I've been completely nomadic with no home and just completely relying on the inner guidance, it all keeps preparing me. It's all been initiation after initiation after initiation to these not higher in the way of hierarchy, but leveling up in my reality, leveling up within myself, of like trusting more. And then, you know, another level comes and it's like, ooh, okay, next leap of faith, dive, and then it's like up level again, and it's been terrifying. But I don't know I don't know really what I'm being prepared for. You know, there's certain projects and things that have been, I feel in my womb, I feel that have been gestating within me that I know come out at a certain point in time when they're ready. But I can't force it. Other than that, I don't know. You know, I took this leap of faith to BC after, you know, 5 years being called out here, but knowing it wasn't time yet, to then just like, oh, it's time, I know it's time, and just drive out here with my car and everything that I own that fits in it, which is not very much. And just listening and trusting, living from my car in a tent and just like listening. That's it. That's all I'm being guided to do. I'm writing, I'm reading, I'm resting, I'm finding incredible places in nature that my body is guiding me to. I'm shedding so much. Like, there's so much energy leaving my body. I burp a lot to purge energy, and the months following to this point, I've been like burping a lot every day, like uncontrollably. So I know I've been like preparing for this. And since being here, like some days I just lie by the river and I feel all the heaviness in my body that I've been carrying, that it's ready to come up and be released. And it's just like lying there by the water, listening to the water, and then burping for hours till I need a break from it, that I just like, okay, I'm gonna go rest now and lie in my tent to get a break from the burping, because it starts to create like almost acid in my stomach, because hours of burping will do that. But then just like feeling how much energy is being released and how much lighter I'm getting and how much clearer I'm getting. But like I felt like I came here with, it's like leading up to this point, you know, I was feeling really light last summer. Like I felt like I was living in a magical fairyland. I felt like I was living heaven on earth. And then it was like I declined again, and I slowly worked my way into the belly of the beast, so to speak, and really went into the muck again of what was there. And, you know, we take these deep dives within ourselves and we come up and we're like, woo, we're feeling high, we're done the work. And then it's like a deeper dive. And then we come up and then it's a higher high, and then a deeper dive and a higher high. That's what it feels like to me. And, you know, each time I'm like, okay, am I done? And then nope, right back in. And leading up to this, it was like I took the deepest dive yet, and I was like, I thought something was wrong with me and I did something wrong, and I was spiraling in shame and in my mind and so much, because I was like, what did I do that, like, what am I doing wrong that I'm feeling awful again, that I'm feeling all this heavy energy again, that I'm feeling all these, you know, these energies pulling at me. Like I don't feel clear, I don't feel sovereign, I don't feel, you know, all of this stuff was coming up, and all of these, like there was so much heaviness attached to my body, and I was sinking into some like coping mechanisms because I was trying to escape all this heaviness. But it was, I'm seeing more clearly now as this journey progresses that it's like all of that weight came up in preparation for me to come here. All of that muck came up for me to carry, to release here. It was like, these are the aspects of you that have to die for you to step into this new chapter that I just quantum leaped into. And now it's like since getting here, like the drive here just felt like numbness mostly, and then since getting here it's been like I'm landing, you know, my body is finally catching up to my reality. I'm starting to be able to see clearly and perceive clearly again, and my mind is starting to be clear again, my body is starting to feel clear again, which was not the case when I first got here. I felt like I was in chaos all the time. I didn't feel clear, I didn't feel me, you know, there was just so much happening inside me that was like creating so much turmoil for me, because I was not surrendering to what was, you know. I was here and there, but not every single day and every moment. So it was like this inner battle of like surrendering and then fighting it, surrendering and then resisting, you know. So I've gotten to the point with, you know, the listening and the surrendering to the guidance I was getting was stop looking at viewings and rest, just be. And that was like the hardest thing for me to do, and it's still like a challenging when I get up and I'm like, hey, am I moving today? Am I going somewhere else today? Am I going to explore today? And the guidance is stay still, be here now, rest. And then I just spend my day in nature, reading, writing, you know, sitting at my picnic table, making earrings, or just lying in my tent doing nothing, or lying by the river just listening to the sounds, or sitting by a tree and listening to it. Like, that's the guidance. And that can be so hard for the mind to accept as the guidance, because it feels like, but in that not doing, everything happens, and that's where the space happens for all of these energies to finally, oh man, this backpack is getting heavy, all of these energies to finally let go. It's in the relaxing, when our body feels fully relaxed and we fully sigh into that surrender within ourselves. It's like bliss. It's like this opening happens within the body, the softening happens in the heart, and it's like a full body exhale. And in that full body exhale, it's when the body releases and lets go of all the stories, the tension, the pains, and all the tension and the pains in the body are just energies that the body is holding on to. It's like this gripping, this fear of letting go, of surrendering, this fear of these old stories and attachments to let go, because you don't know who you are without them. Like, so I know so much happens in the surrender and the relaxation, but it still is a daily practice for me to trust that, and to trust that everything is going to be okay, and that if I'm meant to live here, a home will come into my reality in the perfect timing, and I don't have to think about it or stress about it or put all this efforting into it. Because every time I'm out of trust and I start looking on Marketplace for apartments and stuff, there's just like a sinky feeling in my stomach, and I automatically feel frustration and like irritation in my body, and I'm like, okay, it's not aligned for me to do that. And I just tap in every once in a while to see if it feels aligned, but still no. So I just have to keep trusting and take it day by day, you know. Every day, anything could change in any moment. I could wake up one day and know I'm supposed to go somewhere and then meet someone, and anything could change in every moment. And right now it feels like I've been in this bubble, this chrysalis of protection, where it's just like the Divine Mother holding me as I move through this death and rebirth, as all of the old aspects of myself that I carried here to die, so that I can fully be refreshed and reborn, like in the way of like my body catching up to the reality that I just quantum leaped into, my everything catching up, you know, and all of the old being fully shed. It feels like I've like jumped realities, and all of the old came with me, and it's taking some time for the old to like let go and be like, oh, we don't belong here anymore. Like they no longer fit into the reality. They don't, those aspects of me just, they're dead. It's like the old skin, like the snake that has shed. I keep seeing snakes everywhere too, like they keep crossing my path. So I just know that this is, anyways, I've offloaded like 10 different apps while trying to do this video, just so that I can keep sharing until it feels complete. So I'm gonna end it here, and yeah, wishing you guys so much blessings and clarity and, you know, deep connection within your own self, to your own inner guidance system and intuition, because nobody has the answers for you. You know, you'll get little pieces here and there from people. You'll be inspired by other people's path, and feel less alone in your own journey by listening to other people and hearing other people's story. And it's why I share my story. But no one has the answers for you. The answers are within you for your own divine blueprint. You have a different journey, a different path to create that is not like anyone else's. You're not here to follow someone else's path. You're here to create your own. And to create your own, you have to learn how to tap into your own inner guidance system. That blueprint is already created within you. The map is already there. The inner compass is already there. You just have to learn to listen. And that requires a lot of clearing and shutting out the outside world. The phones are like the worst for that, of like, we're on our phones so much, and then we're just like, our field is completely like violated with tens of thousands of different energies that we just picked up that cloud our own inner guidance system, our intuition, that just cloud our energy fields. We can't even hear ourselves. We can't even feel ourselves. So to me, number one is like getting off the phone as much as possible. Getting off the social media apps, unless you're just there to post or with intention, It's a tool. Use it. Don't be used by it. And that's been like the biggest shift in my life, is when I stopped giving my power away to the phone and social media, when I use it more intentionally and don't get sucked into it using me and siphoning my energy. Anyways, I'm going to end it there because I probably will get cut off again soon. And wishing you much love. And I'm gonna go find a swimming hole and set up my little blanket and just bliss out in nature. Yeah. Anyways, bye. I done and got caught in the rain. I didn't think it was gonna rain this hard. And I got into writing. And, well, now I'm a good distance away from the campground by the waterfall. It's beautiful, but it's pouring rain, and I don't think it's gonna stop, so I have to weather the storm with all my stuff.